Okay, I'm here. Let's see if my stream works. Oh my goodness. Oh, technology. I have been trying for the past 10 minutes or so trying to get on here, and the stream kept shutting down, but I'm here. So happy to be here with all of you. Welcome, welcome. I'm Leah Davis. I am the founder of Leah Davis Coaching. And today I want to talk with you about spending for comfort and understanding the urge to buy. I wanted to talk about this because I have noticed over the years that this is probably one of the top things that my clients have come to me for in their initial conversation. I will hear something along the lines of, I want to stop spending impulsively, or uh, I spend too much money without thinking, and things like, um, I'm tired of feeling bad after I buy something. And typically it'll follow up with something like, I just buy when I'm bored. And gives me something to do. So there's lots of reasons why, but it typically does come right back around to this particular topic, which is the emotional spending. And it's a form of comfort. And I want to talk about there's three different areas I want to chat about today on it. So first, it's the emotions behind the comfort spending. So honestly, it's a self-soothing, a method of trying to soothe the discomfort of whatever is happening internally. So a lot of women that I've coached, they're shopping online, or maybe they're um, I did this for a little while during the pandemic. I would, when I could go to the store, I would go to like TJ Maxx and browse, and I was just so bored and I ended up buying things, you know. Um, so that can happen, right? Out of boredom. And it could also be sadness or anger or disappointment. So when we have these uncomfortable emotions, and when we haven't learned yet how to sit with them, if we haven't learned yet how to soothe ourselves through them, well, then we're going to want relief. And a lot of times that relief comes in the form of spending money and buying things for themselves, is what I found my clients, and it could be a variety of things. It could be clothes, household items, books. Books is a big one, actually. And it could just be things, sports equipment for those who are athletes. I've had clients who are just like, I keep buying bikes and equipment and things that I don't need, but I keep buying it. And it's a behavior that they want to change. What ends up happening too on this, um, the emotions behind the spending, is it becomes a habit. It's a quick fix that has been wired in our brain, to fix the feeling, to fix the situation, to fix the emotion that's coming up. But then on top of that, when there is that habitual pattern, because we start to do things repetitively in our brain, I don't know if you're aware of this, is always looking for the quickest and easiest way to come to a solution. A brain is purpose. The purpose of the brain is to help make life a lot easier for us, so we don't have to think about what we're doing. I often ask some of my clients when they first come to me for coaching, when we're going over this, is, and I want you to consider this question as well, is, when you put a pair of jeans on, or pants, whatever, which leg do you put in first? Is it your left leg or is it your right leg? Which leg? For me, it's my left leg. I think about it. Yeah, I put my left leg in first. I had to think about it. And it's because I've done it so many times that my brain has made it easy to put my left leg in my pants. And I do it without even thinking. So we automate it. So when it comes to the same thing, with our habits that are helpful and not so helpful, it's a habits, and our brain is there, and it does a quick fix on wanting to, um, the habitual of, oh, I'm feeling this. Brain says, do this thing right here, buy this because it's quick fix. But then what ends up happening is there can be a cycle of that guilt and regret that can set in. And then when those uncomfortable emotions come in, it's time to fix it again. So that's a second way of the emotions that come up that cause the spending. And then another one is just money and self-worth. I mean, we're in this society, and proving success and feeling like, well, I deserve this. I work hard. This, I hear this one. I work hard. I deserve this. Another one could be When it comes to money, I've heard this one quite often, which is, well, I know that I'll tell myself that I'm going to make more money anyway, and I always make more money, and I'll just put it back. So that is a use of money and making a reason behind the purchase, and and then that can also cause issues because the emotions that come up with that, which I found with a lot of my clients that have expressed to me that this is what they do, is that they still feel the regret and the guilt, knowing that they're like, well, I can go ahead and make more money anyway, and I'll put it back, and then they spend it, but the emotion is still there that is causing them to do that quick fix, and it's just that cycle, right? So that self-worth part of this is just seeking that validation from other people. We've heard the term keeping up with the Joneses, or just wanting to fit in with a group of people, and finding that making these purchases and appearing a certain way is filling something inside. Again, so that's the emotions behind the spending. And the second thing with the, comfort of spending and the urges with that, I want to talk about is how to start finding ways to overcome it. And first, it's about recognizing, right? Okay, so if you're watching this and you're hearing me talk, you're in you're in already recognizing, and maybe you already did before coming to this live event, recognizing that there's something that you want to change with this habit, with this behavior. So the first step in being able to recognize that is to notice when you're activated. So that activation is that boost of emotion. Some call it a trigger activation. It means the same thing to me. Um, so it's the ability to notice that's happening. So many people, and including myself for years, I was not in tune with what was happening to my body as an emotional response to a stressor. I had numbed out, and I was using things outside of me to numb out, and I also had just, was too uncomfortable. I didn't like it, so I wouldn't want to even experience it. So I wouldn't allow myself because to feel that uncomfortable feeling because it was so unbearable because I didn't know that I could soothe my way through it. I wasn't taught that growing up. My family just wasn't raised that way. And it's just not a part of anyone in my life growing up that was being that way, that was talking about their emotions. Um, so, in order to notice when you're activated, it's going to take some practice. And oftentimes, what I found with my clients is noticing these things throughout the day. So, not just specifically, I know the topic right now is about spending, but I invite you to consider noticing how you're feeling throughout the day when you remember, or you can set up a little reminder. Maybe set up a reminder on your alarm or on your phone, a little alarm goes off. And when that alarm goes off, that's a little moment to, check in with yourself. For a while there, what I did was I had put Post-it notes on 3 different areas of my home that I knew I was going to see throughout the day. And then I would intentionally pause and check in with myself to see how I was feeling because I was on autopilot for so long. So I put a Post-it note on my washing machine because I was doing laundry all the time. I put it on my mirror and I put it on my microwave. So 3 different locations in my home. I don't remember what I put on there, but I had to post it, and it was a moment for me to pause and to check in with my emotions. Now, here's the other thing. I didn't always understand what I was feeling because I just, like most of us and many people in this world, we have so many emotions, but we tend to just notice the main ones, the big ones, which are anger, sadness, fear. Right? But there's so many different emotions that we have as human beings. What I started using was a feelings wheel. So if you haven't used one before, definitely consider using one as you're trying to name the experience and the emotions that you're feeling. So feelings will can give you emotion like discouraged, frustrated, insignificant, inadequate. Okay, those are emotions that are tied to anger and sadness. Um, and I could feel insignificant, especially when I was going through a difficult time. And when I've talked to a lot of my clients as well, we start digging into more of these words to identify their emotions. And throughout the day, if you're able to check in and use a feelings wheel, or even Google on your phone really quick on some emotions so you can kind of check in, you're going to start to notice more and more and tie your brain with your body more on what is going on, and also being able to reflect on what that is, which leads me into the next area of recognizing how to shift this habit of spending, and that's identifying patterns. Okay, so it's having that awareness of that you're being activated, being able to name the emotion that you're feeling, and also identifying the patterns. And here's a great way to do that. So, hmm, maybe the next time, if you find yourself feeling guilty or bothered, upset, mad at yourself for spending on something, and you're like, I said I wouldn't do that again, and here I am. Okay, so in that moment, or at some point, as soon as you can, reflect on what happened before the event. So the event was the act of purchasing. Consider what happened before. Where were you? What was the location? What happened? And who are you with? Those are the three main things to think about that, okay? Document that. The next part is during the activity of spending, where were you? Like, what was the location? Is there a time of day? And who was there? Okay. Then consider what happened after as a result, how you responded to that behavior. Okay, so whether it was immediately or down the line, there was a response to the behavior of when you made the purchase. So, what this will reveal to you over time, if you do this enough times, if you can remember, you may notice a pattern. Maybe it's every Friday night when I'm sitting on my couch, I can't find anything to watch on TV, and I'm alone with my pet who's there, and I make the purchase. Okay. What happened before was maybe it was you walked in and you had a super stressful day and you really wanted to spend some time with friends, but you couldn't because no one was available, and you checked. That would have happened before, then during. And then after, maybe something along the lines of like, later on that night when I was going to bed, I felt really bad about spending and it was in my mind. So as a response to that, then I couldn't sleep and I just was, really speaking down to myself. So these things will start to reveal what's happening, and you can start to find a way to offset that behavior. So I hope that's really helpful for you. That's actually kind of a process like what they use in behavioral change for kids that are neurodivergent, and adults too. So hopefully that'll help you out. And there are some ways also, finally, that there are some ways that you can enjoy, spending your money without feeling guilty. Over the years, that amount of guilt is practically not even there. I was thinking about this the other day. I knew I was going to talk about this, and I'm thinking, when's the last time I felt guilty about buying something? I can't even tell you. That's a miracle, because I used to beat myself up a lot because I was always buying stuff online or at the store, or, oh my gosh, especially before I went out with my friends, I would just buy things because I didn't want to miss out on looking super fine. Anyway, so one of the ways that you can start to learn how to spend without feeling guilty is to be very intentional with your spending. So go back to that pattern. So when you get to that, when you're able to identify the pattern of when this is happening, if you know it's a certain day of the week when certain things happen, a certain time of day, okay, you can intentionally, before that happens or even after that particular time frame that you identified in that pattern, be intentional and make a purchase. If that's something that you like need, right? Because oftentimes I found my clients, especially when there's a lot of people that don't go to Target these days, but for those that used to, I don't know what store to be, Costco now. um, They go into the store to get that one thing or two things that they need, but they walk out with a cart full of stuff. Okay. So think of when you're going to go shopping and you need something. And if you are one of those people that do buy more because, and then you feel guilty later on, just this is just one example. So be intentional about that activity. And before you go into the store, before you go online, do the emotional check in. So you got to be able to have reminders somehow and identify if you, it would be great using that feelings wheel so you can get really granular on what it is you're experiencing and determine how am I feeling in this moment right now. If you're feeling agitated, frustrated, discouraged, discontent, right, might not be the best time to make the purchase. If you're feeling like confident, happy, secure, great time to make the purchase, right? And notice the experience as you're doing it. And lastly, one of the ways that you can enjoy spending money without feeling guilty is celebrate the small wins that you have with gratitude. So reinforce this behavior for yourself in a positive way. If you have a journal, or even if you put a note in your phone, some way to be able to write down your gratitude for the experience, gratitude for putting in this work on yourself, gratitude for being willing to sit in the uncomfortable emotions and to explore ways to spend in a way that will have you feeling really good, to release the guilt and shame, just naming these things and being grateful as much as you possibly can every time that you do it, every time that you can possibly remember. And if you don't have time to write it down, if it's in the moment, you could even just say it out loud. Oh my goodness, I'm so grateful that I'm spending with joy. Or I'm so grateful that I experienced this without feeling bad about myself. Just those kinds of things can really start to rewire your self talk. It gives you the ability to declare things and to decree it and to just reinforce the behavior energetically. And when we smile and when we're grateful, there's that saying is what you appreciate appreciates. So, as much as you can appreciate these positive changes, it will continue to build and more and more and more. So, hopefully, this will give you some great ideas on how you can begin to spend your money with joy and let go of any guilt, regret, or shame on spending and step more and more into your power so that you can live the life that you are so worthy and deserving of experiencing because you're worth it. All right, until next time, I'll see you soon. Thank you for being here with me today.